final score: Port Vale 1, Wrexham 4. And this unexpected little cup interlude continues. We're into the quarterfinals now, and as we all know, this is a competition which isn't taken all that seriously until Wembley starts getting close. It's starting to get close, so it'll be interesting to see what we do next Tuesday against Bolton Wanderers when we continue in the competition. We rotated our side. Only Max Cleworth remained from the team that won at Crawley. Port Vale certainly rotated their sides. 11 changes for them from the side, which is at the moment on the fringes of the playoffs, and ultimately our sort of well-financed top end of League One second 11, especially considering the quality and depth we've got, was too good for their top end of the second division, fourth division second 11. But it didn't look like it was going to be like at first. We had the most unbelievably bad stars. We're losing after 19 seconds. Yeah, 19 seconds. And for the first quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, Port Vale really threatened to run riot. But once we equalised, we looked a higher division team. And by the end, well, not only was it comprehensive, but the quality of some of the performances by players who might be considered second string, if you will, was really pleasing. So like I said, they took the league after 19 seconds. They played with essentially 3 up front, and that 3 caused us issues in the first 25 minutes or so. They were staying up the pitch and disrupting how we play out from the back. We've seen teams do this successfully against us before, of course. They were rotating positions, which again we've seen teams trouble us with, like Stevenage before, and they were quick. Rico Richards, who came on as a sub when we played Port Vale in the group game at Vale Park earlier this season, made a big difference when he came on in that match, and his direct running would immediately cause us issues. Like I said, straight from the kickoff, Port Vale clear our kickoff. Richards picks up a loose ball on the halfway line, surges right through the middle of our midfield, something which worryingly was sort of quite easy to do in the early stages. And luckily for us, then overran it on the edge of the box. The ball ricocheted. Seb Revan was there, facing his own goal, admittedly, but still he was there first comfortably, and he trod on the ball, which just essentially teed up Curtis, who drilled a powerful first-time shot across Arthur Okonkwo that went in. Okonkwo will be a bit disappointed. I think the fact it's come so quickly in the game maybe just caught him out a little bit, but yeah, it's close to him as it goes through. And so he may have been disappointed with that. But don't worry, Okonkwo fans, because he will more than make amends as the game goes on. And yeah, that was the pattern there. Front 3 were causing us real issues. Hackford's quick, and Curtis, like I said, a skillful ball player. Richards was running at us as well. We, though, had our first moment of hope when George Evans hit an absolute worldie of a pass out to the right to Ryan Longman, and he was narrowly beaten to it by the on-rushing goalkeeper, Broom. It was a heck of a pass, just a tiny bit too much on it. But then straight up the other end, we have problems again. A diagonal picks out Sharrock, and he cuts in from the left flank, drives a good shot from 25 yards, which whistles just wide of the right post. They'd make another chance halfway through the half, and this time Richards, loving it, gets the ball on the right side of our penalty area, brilliantly nutmegs Tom O'Connor, and then after holding the ball up, doing a couple of little Zidane turns for the fun of it, pops a little pass inside to Curtis, who pops it back to him, and Richards is one-on-one with Okonkwo, tight angle, pretty much the same spot as Curtis had scored from. He drills it with real power. Brilliant save by Okonkwo. Learned from what happened last time. Got a long leg out and deflected it away. Great goalkeeping. He has to be alert again a couple of minutes later when a long ball's played into the box. Curtis wins the head and nods it into the danger area. Hackford sprinting onto it. Okonkwo commits fully, and Hackford just gets there first, but Okonkwo's been so quick off his line that there's nothing Hackford can do but hit the ball against the adjacent goalkeeper. So we're riding our luck, but then it all changes in the 31st minute when we equalise. And it follows a good spell of possession. We'd already been starting to get more of a grip in midfield. And whereas Port Vale, like I said, when that front 3 were able to press, were causing us some issues, if we got past that, They then started to drop off a bit deep and allowed our midfield space to play, and all three of them had very good games. When Evans was allowed space, he was pinging the ball around like anybody's business. From the very start of the game, Elliot Lee back in that left side of the midfield central trio position was really looking like vintage Elliot Lee. And it was Andy Cannon who got the first goal. Cleworth, after a long spell of possession, driving forwards, smashing in a shot which is blocked on the edge of the area, but it spins into the box. Mo Fowl does really well. It's an awkward take. He takes it easily and essentially just tees it up for Cannon. And the finish from Cannon is a bit of a delight. He just takes it perfectly in his stride. His touch is taking him one-on-one with the keeper, and he very coolly takes his time and gives the keeper the eyes, and it's only when the goalie's been sat down that he rolls it into the corner of the net. A really confident finish. And Wrexham have equalised, and after that, if I'm honest, it's mostly Wrexham knocking at the door looking for more. Vale was looking really good up front. Fair play to him. He held the ball up well. He was laying the ball off nicely. Harry Ashfield playing off him. I thought maybe in the early stages when we were struggling was dropping a bit too deep to try and help midfield, but when he got back up again, the amount of ground he covered was fantastic. He had a terrific game, Ashfield, and Revan down the left was stretching Port Vale with his pace. Longman on the right, well, confirmed what we thought. He's got quality when it comes to providing service. Another opportunity comes when Lee drives forwards from deep in his own half, plays a good ball out to Vale, just sends him maybe a tiny bit wider than he wants to, but Vale continues, drives to the edge of the box and hits a shot, which Hennigan has to block in front of his goalkeeper. Then, on the right-hand side, the ball is won and carried forwards by Cannon, who feeds the ball inside. I beg your pardon, by Longman, who feeds the ball inside to Ashfield, who smashes a good early shot in the D. Great tip over by Broom. It is straight over his head, but it's travelling. He has to get a hand to it. And then from the corner, O'Connor sweeps it in with pace, skimming it into the near post. Dan Scarr flicks it on, hits a defender, spins out of the edge of the area, and off balance, Evans swinging on the edge of the box, still manages to stretch and make contact with his left foot and whistles it just over the bar. There's a little moment of threat at the end of the half by Port Vale, just to remind us that they're in it. Shorrock bursting down the left-hand side, trying to cross, but a combination of a Okonkwo and the bar, or maybe one of those two, it's really hard to tell. I've watched it a few times, repels it. So it's not a shot, but it could easily have gone in. Okonkwo very acrobatic. I think may have just touched it onto the bar, and the danger is gone. And that danger recedes even further 3 minutes after the restart because Wrexham take the lead. A poor touch in midfield by Richards. Cleworth feeds the ball forwards. Far nice hold-up play. Feeds it to the right. And it's a Longman show. Longman taking on Shorrock. Beats him. Then cuts back onto his left side to beat him again. Very calm. He could have ripped in an early cross with his right foot instead of his left foot. He pulls it back to the edge of the area. Lovely first-time finish by Harry Ashfield. He's one of our own. He really enjoyed that celebration. His first senior goal. And a good one. And a well-deserved one. And Wrexham were in the lead. Now, as I say, by this point, that Port Vale front three suddenly are not getting much service. The double pivot that Port Vale have got in front of the back three are spending a lot of time quite deep, and we're just dictating terms. Our midfield are completely in control. Sadly, we lose Ashfield after an hour. He hurts himself. Let's hope it's not too serious, and limps off. Ollie Palmer comes on and shows a lot of hustle, trying to make an impact on the game. Within a minute of that change, it's a substitute for Port Vale, who has a real chance, but it's not really of their making. Longman has a horrible moment. He's in his own half on the right-hand side and under no pressure. I think he assumes George Evans is some of that. He isn't, and just feeds it back into his own half, straight to the feet of Hackford. He helps it onto Harper, the substitute, in the right channel, but he loses balance just as he hits it and puts it well off target. It's a decent sight of goal, but a poor finish. And Port Vale are made to pay for that because 2 minutes later, it's 3-1. And again, the Longman show again. Gets the ball on the right-hand side. Beats Shorrock. Sweeps a nasty driven cross to the near post. Port Vale's defensive unit are all over the shop. Their centre-backs, some of them are in the 6-yard box where they ought to be. Hart has come out, though, actually, the outside centre-back to try and help Shorrock, knowing that Longman's got the beating of him, as he's in no man's land. And Hennigan is much higher, marking around the edge of the area, and I think realises, hang on a second, no one's protecting the near post here, so he runs back towards his own goal, dives towards his own goal, and makes an acrobatic, desperate header back out to the flank. I mean, it's a good header in itself, except it goes straight into Longman's territory. I think Broom might have been able to deal with it. He'd certainly committed himself, and so Longman, recognising the threat with all this chaos, real quality, attacks it and first time volleys it straight back into the goalmouth, where Elliot Lee is really sharp. He's taken up a good position 6 yards out, and he lunges in, stretches and diverts it. He knows that's all he's got to do. Doesn't have to kick it, just stretches, gets a touch, and it rolls into the net, the net, and it's 3-1, and Wrexham looking good. Although, soon afterwards, Okonkwo again excels. A corner coming in from the right. To beg your pardon. Hennigan with a firm header, a cross goal, and a typical Okonkwo save. Big wingspan, spreading long, right arm out, really strong wrist, which has just been broken, making an almost identical save. Stretching behind himself, pushes it out into the goalmouth. Curtis is threatening to get there first, but Okonkwo is really quick. It's what goalkeepers train on a lot, of course, to then get the second gather, and he gets up and grabs it really well. Outstanding goalkeeping from Okonkwo. 18 minutes left, Wrexham looking in control. We make a couple more changes. Longman comes off. Mendy replaces him. Jacob Mendy playing on the right on this occasion. And also George Dobson comes on to replace Cannon. And we continue to be in control of the match. 10 minutes left. Cleworth feeding the ball forwards. Vale flicks it on rather cutely. And Palmer on the right flank outside the box, wide of the box, runs onto it and hits a magnificent volley, swerving an away swinger, swerving away from the keeper, and Broom does really well to get across and parry it behind for the corner. When that corner is swept in, O'Connor rips it towards the far post where Palmer is backpedaling. It just clears his head. He's in the goalmouth. And as a result, Lee has a chance to head it into the net from about 2-3 yards out. But he's unsighted, I think, and is beyond the far post and heads it into the side netting. I think if he had a good view of it, he would have scored. We do score, though, in the 82nd minute, and pleasingly it's Mo Vale who really deserved it for the shift he put in up front. This time it's a loose ball, which Palmer creates by flicking it on. Vale does well to pick up the loose pass, work it out to the left-hand side. Revan's bursting down the flank. He punches in a really good early cross flat into the 6-yard box, and Vale hasn't just rested on his laurels. He spread it out there and then sprinted into the goalmouth, lunges in, and like Lee at full stretch, diverts it past Broom. It's a good finish, because if you look at it, Broom's hurling himself across to make the block. Vale, whether he realises that or not, I think he does. It's full stretch. He hasn't got any chance, really, you wouldn't think, to do anything but prod it forwards, and the keeper will save it. So he just twists his leg so that he toe pokes it back the direction it came from. It's a smart finish. We make another change with 5 minutes left as Brunt comes on for Cleworth, and within a minute we have the final chance of the match. It's an interesting one as well. Mendy bursting forwards really well into a great position in the right channel, twisting and turning. Looks like he's going to go around the outside and deliver, then cuts back onto his stronger left foot, drills the ball into the goalmouth, and, well, Lee tries a diving header from about 2 yards out, doesn't seem to quite make contact. Deborah, the centre-back, blocks it on the line. It comes out, and Vale scores. Well, Vale squeezes it back in. I think actually Lee gets the final touch. Vale is given offside correctly. I had a good long look at this, and I was trying to think as well, this weird thing now about you're offside if it comes off an opponent and they mean it, but you're not offside if it... No, it's the other way around, isn't it? If an opponent passes the ball to you in an offside position, you're not offside, which is how it always has been. But if it deflects off an opponent now, for some unknown reason, you are offside. So it would have been, I think that's just to try and clarify for VAR, another example of the rules being changed to suit VAR rather than the rules making sense. To avoid controversy around when is a first phase or the next phase of play, because if you count it from when Mendy hits it, is Vale going to be offside? Actually, yeah, he was. But anyway, for whatever reason, it's correctly disallowed. I don't know why I just wasted 20 seconds of your life talking through that. And Wrexham win comfortably and comprehensively. Considering we made 10 changes, not bad. Rather encouraging, isn't it? Looking at the individual performances, Okonkwo, like I said, was terrific. And what he needed after the injury and then that rough time against Stevenage as well, wasn't it? And for me, that save from Hackford shows he's not scared of getting hurt after getting that bad injury. And also the save he makes from the header shows he's not scared to make the identical move that got him injured. That's really good sign, isn't it, in terms of recovery. The centre-backs were all solid. Scar in the middle was in control, was unruffled all the way through. O'Connor had some edgy little moments early on when Richards was getting into that pocket. Brought the ball forwards well in the second half, though. And Cleworth was Cleworth. Rock solid, no real issues for him. Very controlled. The wing-backs, Longman was sensational. Like I said, his end product was fabulous. He kept putting those lovely balls in. I think Barnett is maybe the stronger defensively. But Longman can put a quality ball into the box. Goodness me, he looks very interesting indeed. And then Revan on the left-hand side made that mistake for the goal, but really grew into the game well. His pace is such a weapon, and we used it well. In the second half, he was spending a lot of time very high up the pitch and caused Port Vale problems as he stretched them out. In the centre of midfield, George Evans was doing his best Pirlo impersonation, just like I said, spreading these wonderful passes around. Port Vale gave him space and paid for it. He was class, really classy. As was Elliot Lee, who I went for as man of the match. Just his constant throughout the game involvement, tracking back, but more importantly, bringing the ball forwards, creating, passing, looking for the killer ball. He's always at his best, I think, when he really is looking to drive forwards and make something happen. And that was the mood he was in, and he played really, really well. And then Andy Cannon was maybe not quite as central as those two in terms of importance, but took his goal beautifully. And as ever, you're always going to get a good shift from him, aren't you? Up front, Ashfield is terrific. Like I said, drifting around, terrific energy and terrific ability to cover the ground quickly, to get into different positions during a move. I've really enjoyed it. He's such a confident player, and his touch is really, really good. There was a couple of occasions where physically he went up against a massive Hennigan and retained the ball too. I really rate Harry Ashfield. I think he's class. And Mo Farl as well. People are all making these assumptions. Oh, why is he not straight in the team? Oh, is it a problem? No, he's one that we're developing. And that performance was really good. He was up against experienced centre-back in Hennigan, and he handled him well. He's got something a bit more about him than just a bog-standard target man, but he can also do that job. I thought his hold-up play was really good. He looked really, really sharp. It was exciting, I thought, Val. Off the bench, well, Dobson came on, did a solid enough job. He didn't have that much time to make an influence. Mendy likewise got up the pitch quite well, actually, on the wrong side for him, and was solid. Didn't have that much to do defensively. Palmer, of course, comes on and he put himself about a bit. There was one incident where he absolutely turned himself inside out trying to keep the ball in. It was a pass that was a bit wayward and he was sprinting after it like crazy. Didn't quite manage it, but it was terrific. I mean, I've got to say that the home fans were sort of mocking him for not quite making it. And I'm thinking, I think you want a player on your side to be chasing a pointless ball out there when it's already 3-1, don't you? That sort of attitude was wonderful. And Lewis Brunt came on and didn't really have much to do, in all honesty. The game was won by then. One other little point is that on the bench, it was great to see Luke McNicholas back. He's, of course, been recalled from his loan at Rochdale. And anyone who's listened to me with Low, I really rate McNicholas. Good to see him back in action, back available and fit after the injury he picked up at Rochdale as well. So happy days. We're in the quarterfinals. Let's see how that progresses against Bolton Wanderers with a final score of Port Vale 1, Wrexham 4. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.